Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Heisman Talk, your number one source of college football news on YouTube. We're back here again for another week of Game Day Pick'ems, Week 5. And D, this past weekend, it kind of tore up our overall rankings. I went 3-3, you went 4-2, so not too shabby. We're going to look to get better this weekend. You start off this week at 13-10, and I am at 14-9. So D, let's jump right into it. Our first game of the week is going to be number 7 Cincinnati going on the road to take on the number 9 ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish in South Bend. This is a 2:30 kickoff on NBC. Cincinnati actually favored in this one right now by 2 points. D, who do you have winning this matchup?
Yeah, Nate, I think this is going to be a good matchup. You got two pretty good teams. Both are pretty good defensively. I think Drew Pine changes the dynamic of this game a little bit, at quarterback for Notre Dame. I think he'll be able to, do certain things with his legs and evade rushers and stuff. But I'm still going to go with Cincinnati, man. I'm picking Cincinnati because that defense, I think their defense will get after Drew Pine. And, they're a really, really tough, hard-nosed defense, and they have a lot of talent on defense as well. So give me Cincinnati in that game.
D, that's a great pick. This is a huge game. This is a much bigger game than probably most fans recognize. This game has huge playoff implications for both teams. I mean, whoever loses this game probably loses their chances of getting in the playoff, in my opinion, unless Notre Dame, can sneak out a few wins in the season. But yeah, D, I mean, right now Notre Dame's only averaging 35 points per game. Cincinnati comes in averaging 43 points per game on offense. Notre Dame's really going to have to get their run game started in this one if they're going to have a chance. They're only averaging 84 yards per game, which is not that great. On the other side of the ball, you got Cincinnati with their running back and Jerome Ford, who will probably go off in this game. I have the Cincinnati Bearcats winning this game in a close one. I think Notre Dame's going to keep it close. They seem to always keep it close. But I think Cincinnati's offense is the edge in this one. Give me the Bearcats. So then we head down south to the great city of Tuscaloosa, where Ole Miss comes into town, ranked number 12, to take on the Crimson Tide, ranked number 1. This is a 3:30 kickoff on CBS. Alabama currently favored by a whopping 14.5 points right now. But a lot of experts are thinking that this one could be a little bit closer. D, what is your take on this game, and who do you have winning this SEC West Showdown?
Yeah, man, I'm going to take Bama in this game. The big reason why, I really think that, Matt Corral is a great quarterback, and Bryce Young is also a great quarterback. They can both do things that, most quarterbacks can't do. But the reason I'm going to take Bama is because I just don't think Ole Miss has enough defense. I don't think their defense is going to be good enough to stop Bryce Young in that Alabama offense. I respect the heck out of Ole Miss because, they're a good team with a very powerful offense. But I just don't think they have enough defensively to go into Tuscaloosa and pull off the upset. So give me Bama in this game.
D, another game with huge implications this time for an SEC West title. If Ole Miss is able to upset Alabama, they have a really good chance to make it to the SEC championship and probably the playoff. With that being said, Matt Corral comes into this game through 4 weeks, has not thrown a single interception, 0 interceptions. But Alabama gets their running back, Brian Robinson, back from injury list this week. He was out last week, which I don't think would have made much of a difference. But in this game, it's going to be big for Alabama to get their run game back on track. And for Ole Miss to win, they're going to have to shut down Bryce Young and that passing game. I just don't see it. Give me the Crimson Tide in this one by a touchdown. Going to be closer than people think, but I think Bama takes this one. So then we head out west to another Big 12 shootout this week. We talked about Kansas State and Oklahoma State last weekend. This weekend, number 21 Baylor comes into town, into Stillwater, to take on the number 19 Oklahoma State Cowboys. This is a 7 o'clock kickoff on ESPN2. Oklahoma State currently favored by 3.5. D, who wins this one?
Yeah, in this game, man, I'm taking Baylor. During the recap show, we talked about Oklahoma State. We talked about Spencer Sanders and how, Spencer Sanders finally showed up. And, he's a very talented quarterback. And if he shows up, Oklahoma State is very tough to beat. But I don't think he's seen a defense like Baylor's defense, man. They're a top defense. And I think they're going to go in there and take shots at Oklahoma State's corners and throw the ball deep. And if they can put up points, I think that defense is definitely going to go in there and shut down Spencer Sanders. And he might start looking like Spencer Sanders of old, but maybe he's turning over a new leaf. But I'm still going to take Baylor, man, because of that defense.
Great pick, D. Great pick. Let me tell you what. Coming into this game, Baylor is currently averaging 42 points on offense. Oklahoma State, only 25 points per game. Huge difference. Huge difference. And let me tell you of another huge difference, and that's quarterback Jerry Bohannon for Baylor. Not many people are looking at this Baylor team as a threat, but I can promise you by the end of this game and by the end of the season, you might see the Baylor Bears making a playoff run. He's currently got 823 yards and 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Give me the Baylor Bears in an upset in Stillwater. Watch out for the Baylor Bears this year. They are a sneaky, sneaky team that could really make some noise this year.
Yeah, man. Dave Aranda has done a great job, man. He's done a great job over there.
Absolutely. So then we go to back to Alabama, where Liberty comes into town to play UAB. Again, another mid-tier game, just like we had last week with UTSA and Memphis. We're going to pick Liberty at UAB. This is a 7 o'clock kickoff on CBS SN. UAB favored by 2 points currently. D, tough matchup. Who wins this close one?
Yeah, it is a tough matchup, man. You got offense versus defense. Liberty's offense with Malik Willis, and then you got a tough UAB defense. Their numbers are kind of skewed because they lost to Georgia 56-7, but they're a tough defense. I'm really loving picking these Group of 5 games, man. I'm gonna go with Liberty. The reason why is because Malik Willis. He's now becoming a top projected draft pick. And I just think that he's going to be too much for that UAB defense. And I think they're going to go in there and I think they're going to put up a good amount of points on UAB. So give me Liberty in this game.
D, last week the Liberty lost to Syracuse in a close one, 24-21. They've got to hit the road again to go to UAB. But Malik Willis, like you said, has shown that he can play with the best of the best. He's a top draft pick for the 2022 draft coming up on Mel Kiper's board. And a lot of people forget that head coach Hugh Freeze is in command there up at Liberty. I can't see Liberty losing back-to-back. I can't see them losing 2 in a row. Give me Liberty to win this one and a close one. Going to be a close game. Going to be a great game. So if you have a chance, check it out. But, yeah, give me Liberty in this one. So then we head out to the West Coast, giving a little bit of love to the Pac-12, where Arizona State goes on the road to take on the number 20 UCLA Bruins. This is a 10:30 kickoff on Fox Sports 1. Or FS1. UCLA currently favored by 3. D, late night kickoff. Who wins this game?
Yeah, man. This is one of the games I went back and forth on. I had Arizona State at first, then UCLA. I finally settled on UCLA. The big reason why they have an elite offense, man. Their offense is downright elite. Dorial Thompson is a a very, very good quarterback. Jaden Daniels on Arizona State's a good quarterback too. But, I'm taking UCLA and that explosive offense, man. I think Arizona State can win the game because they are talented on both sides of the ball, but they're not a very disciplined team. I think they'll turn the ball over kind of like they did in the game against BYU. And so give me UCLA and their elite offense to win this game.
Arizona State's only loss is to a 13th ranked BYU, in which they killed themselves. They had 121 yards of penalties, a few turnovers. Coming into the year, I really thought Arizona State was going to make some noise under Herm Edwards. But they've really disappointed us, and Jaden Daniels has been the biggest disappointment. I thought he was really going to have a Heisman caliber season. He's only thrown 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions so far. So it's not looking good for the Sun Devils in this one. On the other side, you got a quarterback at UCLA and Dorian Robinson, who's putting up monster numbers. He's got 919 yards passing for 9 touchdowns and 1 interception so far. Chip Kelly and the UCLA Bruins are going to run away with this one. I know it's a 3-point spread, but I just can't see them losing this one. Give me the Bruins by 14. So then, we head to the game of the week, in which we have a special announcement as well. I guess I'll go ahead and announce it. D and I are hitting the road, and we are going to Athens to film our first ever road trip to a college town, where we will be interviewing fans. We'll be going to tailgating. We'll be going to college game day. The whole 9 yards. We'll be doing it. So if you're in Athens this weekend on Saturday, make sure to come find us. We'll be more than happy to talk with y'all, meet y'all, and hope to maybe even interview a couple of y'all. So we're really looking forward to it. With that being said, the number 8 Arkansas Razorbacks come into town to take on the number 2 Georgia Bulldogs. This is an early kickoff, 12 o'clock kickoff on ESPN. A lot of Georgia fans are not happy about it at all. They wanted that late game kickoff at 7. Unfortunately, they get the 12 o'clock kickoff. UGA currently favored by 18.5. That's a pretty big spread for a top 10 matchup. Who do you have winning this close game?
Yeah, man. It's an 18-point spread, but it's still a tough game to pick, man. If anybody has watched Arkansas this year, they know how hard those guys play. During the recap show, I talked about that 3-headed monster on the defensive line, with Ridgeway, Trey Williams, and Utsi. So, they're a very, very good team. They got KJ Jefferson on offense, Treylon Burks. But give me Georgia, man. I think Arkansas is going to cover, but give me Georgia. Georgia has one of the best defenses in the nation. Their front 7 is just crazy. I think possibly their only weakness could be the secondary, but they get after it so much in that front 7. It's tough to even, expose or have enough time to expose it. But yeah, they're starting to kind of hit a stride on offense. And so, I think that Georgia's going to come in and be ready to go at home. And so give me the Bulldogs to win this game.
Arkansas is riding high off of a top 10 win this past week in Jerry's World against Texas A&M Aggies, where the Aggies really struggled on offense. Arkansas's defense looked dominant. Georgia respectfully dominated a shutout win against Vanderbilt 62-0 this past weekend. So both teams are really coming off great wins this past week. The Dogs get back tight end Darnell Washington and starting safety Tyke Smith off of the injury list, which are two huge pickups for the Dogs. Not to mention, like you said, they're already dominant already on all phases. The biggest question for me, D, is how healthy will KJ Jefferson and Traylon Burks be for the Razorbacks? These are two of their top performing players, both banged up after last weekend's matchup. And two, can Georgia continue their run success? They started off a little slow in the beginning of the season. Looks like they're starting to pick up now with that deep backfield. In the end, I think Georgia's defense will outmatch Arkansas's offense in this one. Give me the Dogs in this top 10 showdown of the SEC. And D, with that being said, we will see you guys in Athens. Make sure to subscribe down below. Give this video a big thumbs up. Share with your friends. Make sure that bell notification's turned on so you stay up to date when we post our latest videos. Until next Wednesday, this is Nate Dogg and D signing off.